Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Whip and Chat podcast. I'm your host Shifmi Dada. If you are new on this podcast, you are in the right place. If you've not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe, and don't forget to click the like button and also to share with everyone around you. So in this podcast, we speak about everything entrepreneurship, from the highs to the lows to the in-betweens. We don't gatekeep. We give you real, raw, unfiltered information about what it takes to build a thriving business. So many times I've had people ask me this question: Shifumi, how did you know it was time for you to quit your 9 to 5 and come into full-time entrepreneurship? And that is what we'll be discussing today. How I knew, the signs, the trainings, the in-betweens of how I left my 9 to 5 to come into full-time entrepreneurship. So you guys should sit tight because it's about to get sweeter. A little backstory: in 2020, when I finished my NYSC, I got this opportunity to get interviewed for a job in Lagos, and I went for the interview. First stage, second stage, third stage, fourth stage. Yes, a whole 4 stages of interview as a fresh graduate. And I got the job, and it was an amazing one. I mean, I loved my job. That job that comes with all the perks: accommodation in the heart of VI. My office was at the then landmark tower. My view was a landmark beach. So, anytime I'm working and my head becomes hot, I can easily just look out and, watch the beautiful scenery. So, life was good. And even at work, I had quite a number of responsibilities because I was working directly with the CEO at the time. I was an intern, but most people, I'm sure that if some of the people work together back then, if they are watching this right now, it's probably be their first time of knowing that I was an intern, because most people actually thought I've had, there were so many roles that people gave me then. Some people thought I was the CEO's PA. Some people were thinking I was the head pharmacist. Some thought I was the HR, because I took on responsibilities in different departments at that time, because my role was undefined and I loved it, because there's just this creative genius it gives to me, being immersed in understanding products knowledge. I remember for a month straight I was just learning about products, and it was a very beautiful one. Having to work in HR, interviewing people, setting assessments, promotional assessments for the staffs, grading it. At some point I worked in the social media department, because at that time I wanted to build a social media presence for the company, and I was in the heart of that. At some point when we were building our website, I did all the copyright. So it was a role that did multiple things, and I loved it. But as you can see, I'm no longer in that role, and I'm not even in 9 to 5 again, and I'm about to tell you how it all went down. So few months into my job, I remember one of those nights, as I was sleeping. Disclaimer: I'm a Christian, and in this podcast you'll be hearing quite a number of things about God, because He's an integral part of my life, right? So I remember one of those nights I was praying, and I remember God speaking to me about leaving my job very soon. And when I heard that, I was like, what? Leave my job? This job is good, it's sweet, I'm enjoying it. But God spoke to me about leaving my job. And I remember later that year, I went for a personal retreat, and I received more clarity about why I was leaving, what I was leaving to do, and all that. So that kind of prepared me. So I knew that the following year I was going to leave that job, just that I didn't know exactly when. The beautiful part is, all those times when God gave me that instruction, He also gave me further instructions as regards to what I needed to be doing. So it wasn't just about you'll be leaving your job. It's more of, okay, you'll be leaving your job, but prior to you leaving, there are certain things to be done. And one of them was the setup of the kind of job He gave me at first. Remember, I told you that my role was not defined, right? And I look back now, and I'm very grateful that I took up that job, because I had knowledge. Even though I spent a short period of time there, I was immersed in so many things. I have knowledge of almost all the departments in a structured work environment. My boss was very open to me. He took me in. Like so many of the conversations we had, one-on-one right now has been so helpful. And also apart from that, I remember God giving me instruction about studying 2 major business icons in the country as at that time. And I remember that for almost a year straight, I consumed everything that I could find on the internet about these two women. YouTube to whatever I can see information about them, I consumed everything and they became like my mentor. I remember evenings, that would be outside of the house, listening to them with my journal and my pen, just writing stuff, thinking through what the business world will look like, gleaning from their wisdom. So I said all that to say this, that you might also, have received instruction from God as regards leaving your 9 to 5, going to full-time entrepreneurship or starting a new business, and all that. But in the midst of that instruction comes other instructions too. There are other things that will be coming alongside with it. It is not just about you leaving, but before you leave, there are things to be done. And it is important that you don't just take the leaving as its way, but you also take the instructions that comes alongside with it. When and how did I finally leave? After working for some months, it was finally time for me to be confirmed and to be given promotion, including raising salary, now a clearly defined role and everything. And I remember that month, as I woke up on the first day of that month and I was doing my devotion, I remember God telling me that this month you're going to face a lot. But don't worry, I'm there with you and I'm going to guide you each step of the way. I was excited about the month that, okay, God has given me His word. I wasn't even seeing resignation coming. And like He said, I remember by the 5th day of that month, I wrote in my journal that, God, this month looks like a year one already, day 5, because the shege that I've seen, with the different unfolding of events and all that, I was leaning to God and He told me it was time. This time around, drop your resignation letter and leave. And that was how I left my job. And after this season came another season of serious training, listening to Him, understanding where He would want me go and all that. And in the midst of that, I got further instructions, as regards relocation, as regards moving to Ibadan, as regards how to build a business, the kind of people to move with and all that. And if there's any other thing that I want to mention about the initial season of training, my 9 to 5, is the important people, the strategic relationship that God gave to me in this season. Because in that job, I was able to have privilege of access to some certain people that later became very instrumental to my growth, right? So these are some of the important lessons I learned from my 9 to 5, and I was able to, leave eventually. So if you are listening to me right now and you're in that phase of life where, you're having this nudge, either to leave your 9 to 5 or to start a business or probably to change your career path or to change the course you're studying and you don't know how to go about it, see, let my soul serve as an encouragement to you. Lean in more to God. There are always instructions following that first instruction that you received. There are always more to it. And trust me, initially it looks like a big deal, but by the time you look back 3 years down the line, you will really, really realize that God doesn't mismanage people's life and you're on the right path all along, right? So I want you to be encouraged. Then secondly, if you've taken that leap of faith before, you've taken that bold step before, I want you to share with me in the comment section, how was the experience for you? Were you filled with fear? Did you see Shaggy like I did? What does it look like for you? I would really love to hear from you. So thank you so much. In the next episode, we'll be diving more into it, what the entrepreneurship journey has been like, some of the important lessons I've learned working this route, right? And please, if you've not subscribed, do well to subscribe. If you've not liked, please do well to like this video. It helps us to get it in the faces of people that need information like this. You'll be doing them a favor just by liking the video, and don't forget to share with that friend, that family who needs to see this and hear this. Bye.